stand up for what is right and not what is easy. Really also on a personal level. The personal level is a lot more important than any accomplishments or achievements. So that is really key.
Welcome to the New Tech Lead podcast. We help you to be more confident leaders by avoiding the traps of inexperience and gain perspectives from leaders in tech, unlike theoretical videos. I appreciate you are here today. Let us bring more leadership skills to the business. Let's roll the interview. Welcome to the New Tech Lead. I'm your host Marvin, and today I'm with Sarah. Give a little bit of context to the audience. Where are you from and what are you doing?
Thanks for inviting me. My context is what fascinates me most is the interface between human beings and technology. And so my key topic is Trustworthy AI at the moment. And therefore, I'm leading a community for Trustworthy AI and also leading project teams that are making Trustworthy AI real, or just other AI projects in addition.
For how long do you do that? And walk me through your career and your process of where to go and what was your next step?
I started 5 years ago roundabout at IBM in the consulting part. So, and the consulting usually is full of diverse perspectives. So it was not one role over the 5 years, but rather sometimes even after 3 months to go on a new project, it's a new role. So I did AI projects really from the technical implementation part towards more the strategic and project management.
Yeah, I would love to know, so what means AI to you? Because there's such a big space in tech. When I'm going through the media, there's pretty much everyone talking about AI.
That's right.
So if you could rephrase what your perspective on AI is and what kind of projects you work on in general.
Basically, AI is a new technology where we have not human defining the rules and the principles, but rather a machine, a technology, identifying patterns within a large number of data. So they derive kind of the rules behind the patterns behind to actually give an output for or a decision. That is very different from how we did technology previously. And so we have the possibility to learn over the time. So it's basically machine learning also. So you learn from data to identify the patterns, to go to be better over and over again. So whenever you get a feedback from a human being afterwards, is able to learn.
And which kind of projects does it make sense to enhance it with AI?
Well, it really depends. So back, like when I started, there was a lot of budget or investment to just try out and do pilots and prototypes. But nowadays, we got a lot more mature, our industry got more mature. So there are real problems and we try to solve it. And then deciding whether AI is a good technique to solve it or not.
Okay.
So it's not just for experimentation's sake. But whenever there is a huge amount of data available, you can use analytics and eventually also AI to get insights from it.
You spoke about leading teams and communities. Can you elaborate on that one?
Yeah, teams, I usually call teams when there are project teams or teams that form also within a department. And communities are people that share a common passion and to unite them in a unity. So to create a hub for them to exchange knowledge or to work on common topics.
So to distinct, the New Tech Lead focuses on first-time people managers. And we dedicated and invited you today because you're so far not a first-time people manager and decided to take on leadership roles and community leadership roles, but you decided against leading as a first-time people manager.
Exactly.
Can you elaborate on that one and your thought process?
Yeah.
Like when did it start to actually lead and what means leading for you?
That's a good question. And leading is for me everywhere. So I started already leading youth or children and youth association when I was a child, really with 14 years. So it was very, very early where I started to practice leadership. And still in my work, it's really everywhere. You can take over the lead of a project and you don't need necessarily to be their disciplinary lead. in the disciplinary lead position for these people. And for me, the question arose when I got at a point a few years ago when I was asked whether I want to become a career coach. And I'm convinced that this is a great job. So really, it's so great to accompany people and to coach people on their way. And it could be very fulfilling to see others grow. But there is another passion that I have, and I started with that at the very beginning, for trustworthy AI. And this topic is very important to me, to push it also towards clients and to make it real, that I decided not to go too much into the disciplinary leadership, but rather driving my topics, and leading can be everywhere in addition. So to drive my topic, I can unite people behind this goal, to drive it together with me.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into the people development part. Mm-hmm. So topic 1, and how you actually transform from a consultant. So can you walk me through the timestamps? You started at IBM as a consultant, and now what? 3 months later, someone came up, like an intern, or in which perspective and which environment did you start to thrive? Who actually asked you whether you can help in their career?
You mean if you ask me for a career coach, or rather to take over lead positions?
Yeah, rather how the process was. Mm-hmm. 2 years in as consultant, and then people came up to you and looked up to you. So how was the process there? When was that time, so other people in the as listeners or audience can relate to what was that step, and maybe when or what kind of effect or action is the time to actually change from a individual contributor to take an extra effort to develop others?
That can be from the very beginning on. So I started in projects, and I just took over responsibility. So I saw that there were people around me, that there was a client around me, and I started to pull into a direction where I was convinced this is the right way to go. I still listened for all the different stakeholders that were there. What is the direction we need to go? But I had my own expertise, so I just brought it in. And this is also one part of leadership, to speak up and to tell others about where you think it's the right way to go, and what is right, and not just what is easy. So that is also something, speak up for that. And then over the time, what evolved is, in my department, there was a very great person that led this department. And we were around about 100 people, I think, in the AI department. And I was so inspired from what he did. So I simply asked him whether I can learn from him, whether he is going to be a mentor for me. And I started working together with him, to start with the leadership team on how is this department set up? How can we organize teams within? How do we define the game plan, the strategy for this department, also to grow? Because AI is such a different, such an important topic, not only for IBM, but really for the world. It is changing a lot of processes and products and services at the moment. So this is also a part of leadership that I took over step by step. I tried to learn from others, and I built up, for example, different tribes, which are kind of communities or people that share a common passion. So either it's computer vision, or it's natural language processing, so technology-based, or one of it was AI strategy. And this is what I was interested in. How can we go or transition from purely prototyping into leveraging AI strategically?
Wow. So to sum it up, leadership everywhere started out with doing a role, then get seen how much impact you have, and take decisions, take more impact, take charge. Then you looked for a mentor. Exactly. And an inspiring person. So in that case, you followed that individual, and in their footsteps, build a community, get recognized for your strategic positioning, and then you began to open the stage for the technology tribes.
Exactly. And there were different tribes that were formed, and I accompanied them or coached them during this process also. So where they needed support, maybe what are, it's sometimes just a simple things. Where do we place our knowledge or the material that we produce, that we have a shared folder structure for that? It's that simple sometimes. Sometimes it's how do we communicate? So how to set or when to set up the different calls for these tribe leads, for example, to have an exchange and to support them to do this leadership position. And I myself, I led the AI strategy tribe. So I also was trying to inspire others to join me. So whoever was interested could just reach out to me, and we formed a team. We set it up, and it was on me and on the team to organize ourselves to drive this AI strategy.
So you built a tribe yourself, and you thrive and decided, hey, why don't you open up other tribes as well? And then based on people's interest,
exactly,
they follow you. So can you a little bit elaborate on fellowship and this concept?
So I don't like the word leadership per se, so that there is a leader that is that is in a position to push you in some direction that where the leader wants to get you. But rather I see it as, basically career coach is a very good name as well, to support others in their career. And in addition to that, I'm convinced that you need to create a fellowship, so to say, so a community of people that wants to follow you rather than that they are forced to follow you or forced to lead.
So looking at career coaching, I feel this concept is still quite new in Germany, whereas in America it's very mature. Career coaching, probably most people on YouTube think of these WhatsApp groups, Lamborghinis and Porsches. So can you elaborate on career coaching, what that means for you and what it means in IBM?
What it ideally means is to coach someone to identify or figure out what is their path. So for you also, or everyone who is listening, to ask the right questions, to support you in finding out what is your passion, what do you want to change in this world, what do you want to bring to work on a daily basis, and then to support you in finding the right path to go, ideally with the career concepts that are in place at this company. So that's the special role of a career coach within a company. So ideally it should be fit in the career path. But really asking or supporting someone to find your own path and not forcing you to go any other path.
So you decided on following your leader and then started out the tribe. How can I find my leader if I didn't identify that person so far? So it's someone who inspires me, someone I trust to follow. What else was your motivation?
Also someone you could imagine that sometime you want to be in such a position.
So a role model, an idol?
Exactly, so a role model. And you can be a role model yourself then as well. So later on when growing into that direction. But for sure, it needs to be a good fit on a personal level. So someone who inspires you, who you can imagine to work with. It's also good to have a different perspective in. So it does not need to be a person necessarily who has the same opinion as you have.
I really like that idea because right now, looking forward, there's always someone who has more steps in a different direction. So you said, I follow that person. I can learn these 3 things from him or her. But then a lot of people neglect looking back and looking actually at the steps you already took, and that might inspire some other people to follow your footsteps.
Yeah, exactly.
So looking forward, what would be the 2 things you learned from that idol or inspiring person so far?
Stand up for what is right and not what is easy. Really also on a personal level. The personal level is a lot more important than any accomplishments or achievements. So that is really key. And this is what this person teach me also. This is what leadership is about for me. So caring about the people. The second one is a lot of strategic knowledge. So how to build up such a department, to always start small, uniting a team behind a common goal, letting also others lead. So whenever you have leaders or in your team, give them space and the time to also lead and to grow.
And specifically with that point in mind, now looking back into your footsteps, what kind of 2 topics do you now focus on to bring to the world and generate followers or followership in your direction?
I don't do it per intent to have a lot of followers behind me. I figured out what is my passion and I want to share it with others. And this is how followership works, in my opinion. So to share vision with others or inspire others with your passion and vision.
And I'm sensed the 2 big plots or topics, visions you put out there is one, your tribe, and then empowering others to create their own tribe.
Exactly. So always thinking about what can I do as a leader and what can I do to grow further leaders. So to support also others. So for example, this AI strategy tribe, I actually gave the leadership position then towards another person within this tribe, because he was very mature and he was very eager to push this further. So I let him the stage. This is also an important step that you learn in a leadership position, to give others the stage and not to take it just for yourself.
Wow. Now I think of my work and your tribes. How does that actually work? Because I see these big companies doing all kind of work, consulting, and you have your day job. Mm-hmm. And to me, it sounds like you also additionally have your tribes. So if I'm a new consultant at your company and I'm really interested in one of the tribes, how do you balance work and the tribe work or tribe interest?
That's a good and tricky question. There should be always from a company space for you to learn and to grow. This is essential, because you cannot be good in your job if you don't have the space to learn and grow at the same time. Otherwise, your knowledge is outdated pretty soon. So there always needs to be some space. So for example, you have 80% on project, and then you have 20% left for learning. It could be other percentages as well. But how we live it is that there is always room for personal development and growth. And then you can decide where to spend this time. And you can do learnings, normal trainings, where you just attend. Or you can go, or in addition, you can go to such communities or tribes and work together with other people in a new area or new space. And you figure out it's more autodidactic learning then, so to say, or to learn from one another.
So I have my first-time people manager and I do my day job XYZ% of the time. And then I have my passion where I'm about to learn amazing stuff in the tribe. And I would call that a tribe owner, tribe leader, functional leader in that hobby or learning space. So how directive is a functional leader are you as a tribe leader? Because things that has to go, there are new topics arising and maybe people want to cover it or have to cover it. But maybe there are really topics who are really tricky, and there are not so many people thriving, but it's still interesting or a must know for the tribe to actually succeed in what you're doing. For example, one of the topics would be probably statistical models based on neural networks. Some people would be really eager to learn on it. Some others say, oh, this is just hypothesis. I don't care. So how actually do you hold every tribe together that you don't have sub-tribes who say, yeah, I love AI, I love neural networks, but I hate statistics. So neural networks without statistics. And you get all these different subgroups. You have to hold everything together. So how do you actually do that?
So first, not everyone can just create a new tribe. So it's still in an organized fashion that you can say, I see a great opportunity there, or we are missing skills there. I want to create a tribe. And then you get the agreement from the leadership team, for example. And that is a very important point, to really have aligned goals so that their career coaches know that these people are working in tribes or are having a tribe lead position, for example, and that this is not completely separate, and also gaining for or looking for projects where you can apply then later on these the new skills that you have learned from the tribe. So
wow, okay. So the starting point was everyone is doing their job and what their role is in the organization. Then you identified possible visions, stake for the future, and then said this is not a hobby or hobbyist within your organization. It's actually a future decision to drive visions and go for tribes on top leadership management, and then actually decide what are the stakes we want to focus on. And if people are interested, which tribe do you want to follow and actually advance on your learning?
Exactly. Get the buy-in from the leadership on which topics the tribe are focused, and get the buy-in from the career coaches that this is really part of the goals from every individual practitioner, that they contribute to such a tribe, for example.
So what different stakeholders do you have to convince? You have your top level leaders. Is HR involved in this as well? So if this tribe concept and learning concept is not available in my company right now, what is the first step? Do I reach out to HR? Do I reach out to my manager? Because I already understand there's a great opportunity. Maybe I'm just a little bit insecure about the value proposition.
I would reach out to your leadership team and say you have an idea, or you have heard that this is successful, or that you think this could be valuable for you and your peers. Suggest it, bring up or pull up a concept how you would see this progressing, and then get their feedback in as well, and involve your manager. That is always a good idea. So because for him to see what you're doing and also what you're thinking about, because that is very strategic and taking over responsibility for your team and for your company.
I see. Wow. That's really, really cool. Along that way of leading a tribe, what was probably the challenge in the first 3 to 6 months of starting out?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is what you said already, how directive someone is. So it's not a manager position. So you cannot force people to do something for you, which is very much different from if you're in a real manager position. So the only tool that you have is creating inspiration, a common goal, a common vision, and a sense of belonging also within the team. And that is very powerful. So, and this is something I think every leader can learn from. If you have led such a team, you are able to also lead other teams where you have the directive to lead them.
I see the 3 pillars are really, really meaningful to you and others, and manifest in your company culture. So can you elaborate on these 3 pillars? Because maybe not everyone is so familiar with the concept or doesn't know what it actually means for you. So starting out with belonging.
Yeah, a sense of belonging. So that these people it goes a bit hand in hand. So as soon as you create, maybe I start with inspiration, because that is usually the seed, and then a sense of belonging is like where you ideally end up. To plant this, or to have a seed and plant the seed, someone should be there who takes responsibility, who has a passion, who has a vision. And it could be as simple as, well, let's create a tribe for computer vision, or I want to learn more about federated learning, which is a special topic of AI as well, how such systems learn. This is a topic I observe in the market that is getting more and more important. It could solve some of the problems that we're currently facing. Or it's AI strategy. It could be very different topics. So this is the seed. And then you spread out. So you go to others, sharing this vision, getting their feedback from peers, from the leadership team. And this is where The second point comes in. So you try to unite people with a common vision or behind a common goal. How can we make that happen? If other people are also convinced, they will follow you, and ask them, what do you think? How can we make this bigger? So it's not just on one person to decide.
How long did the designing take, Sarah? If you come with an idea, I believe this is a great way to go. How much redefining did it take with leadership, with other members of the team, with other people maybe who totally disagree? Sarah, I don't see this becoming a tribe. So how do you come along?
So usually to get a few people that are convinced of you get convinced, that takes just a few days. And then there is a longer time period until it's getting established. And there is a lot of pushback along this way. Sometimes pushback. Sometimes it's also easy because everyone sees this is obvious. Why wasn't it there before? But there could also be pushback.
So if I don't have this in my company, what to expect? Do I expect 2 weeks to establish it, or is it rather a month? So do you have some experience to share?
So usually until it's established, it takes months. Also until everyone knows it within your department and so on. So also take your time for yourself. This is not a there is a business plan, and now I establish a new tribe or a tribe model or community model. So it lives from the feedback you get. So it's really also like Agile works, inspect and adapt. So you get feedback and adapt your plan, adapt your strategy.
And then on these bases, step 1 and step 3, once you adopted the changes, made the tweaks, designed it in a way that GLT approves or the leadership team approves, then there comes the third magical step, belonging.
And that is on this way there. As soon as you unite people behind a goal, there is some sense of belonging already because you share the goal or the same passion. You have different people, maybe from different backgrounds. It's not purely technical people sometimes. So it's even better if you have a lot of diverse perspectives included. And then if you go the first steps together and you see achievements, this is what creates also a sense of belonging, and celebrating these achievements, saying thank you. It's that simple, but still people are hesitant to say thank you to this team. So it's not you alone who is achieving the successes or having the achievements. It's rather really the team that you built. You can do team activities in addition, but I'm not the biggest fan of just doing any team activity, but rather, on purpose. So to get the team together. Okay,
so I have a vision. I designed a plan for it. I have people who follow me and say, this is a great tribe topic. I have the LT buy-in. I created the group. Now, lots of people are joining, and I try to create this belonging, but I already sense they are so different. On which level do we start? And now if I think of the people who might join, they might join people who are interested in the topic from HR and marketing, who are not as sophisticated as our consultants, who are 80% of the time on site and doing this with customers. So where's the meeting ground besides the belief I'm interested in the topic? Do you ramp up everyone?
Why are you afraid of that there are people being so different?
It's probably not the being afraid. It's rather we have the common goal, but they are so on so different levels of knowledge on these different stages. And the challenge is how to bring them together, because someone with 3 years in the consulting world and experience what kind of models to use when, and they want to go into the really advanced expert topic on that tribe topic, whereas other people jump in and say, yeah, I watched a YouTube video on these bases for 30 minutes. What's next? So how do you bring these people together that they have the same or similar belonging?
One method I used in a project, and I really liked it, is to ask the people, what is your strength? What can you bring to this topic? And what is it that you want to learn? So having both parts. And then I was matching the tandem partners, where someone has a great expertise and areas where they want to learn from others. And sometimes it's even like the one person is great in A and wants to learn B, and the other person, sometimes it matches really great that it's just the opposite way. So you can just match two people, or you can also match a couple of people for different skills. So that is one method that you can use. And I always leave space for people to do stuff the very first time, if there's an interest and a passion and a commitment also behind, because that is also very necessary in addition to the passion, to have some commitment. Then people are eager to learn by themselves or ask others to learn it, and then just let them go and let them learn and support them in their way.
And I really love that component, because I thought of people who are really interested and love to be the audience, love to listen and not commit to it, because then it's always challenging. Yeah, I'm just around to listen, I love the elaboration on expectation setting and their drive and what they want to get out of it, rather than just being there. It's actually a big part of doing.
And that can be very different. So some people are very committed and very proactive. And then my part, or how I see my part as a leader or as a coach, is to support them, to give them the feedback, what great stuff they are doing. And for others that are not yet that committed but passionate, I always also have conversations with them. So what are your next steps to go there or to make your passion reality or become reality?
To finish up, how much time do you actually spend in the tribe on the basis of holding everything together and moving towards your vision?
You mean moving towards a vision that I have outside the tribes, or for this tribe?
So what I feel in a tribe, there's a lot of living individuals, a lot of energy, and you have to reinstate and reinforce that they focusing on the vision rather than running to something else. I looked at that, and this is also really interesting. So you have to kind of build the environment where they can thrive in. I feel this is one big component to hold everything together. And then the second thing, besides holding everything together, is giving direction where to move towards.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel there must be a kind of balance. And how do you balance this out?
I usually balance it out with asking the right questions, or asking questions. Whether they are right is then I will get the feedback afterwards. But to simply ask people, why do you want to do that, and how does it fit in? So where is the right place for it within the tribe? They have the answer by themselves, and they get more and more into the mode of thinking by themselves. How do we move in one direction? Because otherwise it's too scattered and we won't achieve anything.
Thank you so much, Sarah. There was so much we covered today. We started with leadership everywhere, where you can think of a topic, where you can think of a vision or a tribe you can establish besides your day job to actually learn and go for a following. The next thing you said was looking out for a mentor and how to find your right mentor. Advance on that followship, follow other people to start making a vision for yourself, and then attract other followers towards you. And the third thing, how to come along as a functional leader besides the day job and besides the people managers, which are really interesting. So not everyone's role or career has to start or finish in a people management position, but rather as a visionary, as you are one, and a tribe owner. Thank you so much for our conversation today. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. And great that you actually have this passion and also want to share it with others. And yeah, I can just encourage everyone to look around. Leadership is everywhere, and not wait for this one step to be nominated as a career coach.
Thank you for listening to the New Tech Lead podcast. This interview was presented to you by Marvin and the New Tech Lead production team. Special thanks to our guest and interview partner. Follow us for more podcasts, check us out on LinkedIn, or visit our website newtechlead.com. Happy learning and leading. Cheers.